Welcome to Fulda Gap AIRSOFT. This has been the largest airsoft event to be held in the United States and one of the largest in the world. It is a historically based scenario of the potential invasion of Western Europe by the Warsaw Pact in the mid-1980s. It is a continuing event, with the same units every year. Mistakes made this year can be corrected in the next. Think of this as a game of airsoft chess. Due to the enormous importance of safety at an event so large, all players should familiarize themselves with all the rules of play. You should also familiarize yourself with the official Fulda Gap game map. When you sign your waiver, you will also be stating that you have read and understand these rules. Know these rules, or you will find yourself at a serious disadvantage. You will need to sign a new waiver for this event. One thing to remember: this is a game and is meant to be entertaining. While the game producers have made great efforts at supporting realism, the whole event is to be taken as a game, and not a reenactment. Any side can win, in many different ways. If you cannot locate an answer to a specific question, please check out the FAQ and forum page, and then, if still scratching your head, send us an email at info@fuldagap.com. Please remember, you are responsible for reading and following the rules below. Ignorance is not an excuse. Don't lose your player badge. Make sure it is tied to your person securely. It will cost you to replace it. No alcohol or drug use at any time on the field of play. Intoxicated or impaired players will be removed from the field and possibly the event. No weapons, knives, wire or rope are allowed on the field, and no booby traps are allowed. No paint mines unless by approval from game staff, however noise or powder mines are allowed. No tools to adjust your airsoft gun or air system are allowed on the field. No firing of any kind off the field, in the parking lot, common areas or camp, other than the chronograph stations, and no shooting of wildlife or referees. No foul language, insulting behavior, including arguing with players or staff, or slurs will be tolerated. No physical contact of any kind except as allowed by rules, barrel tags. No laser sights or pyrotechnics are allowed. Pyro is against NC law. Use only cold smoke, clear with field owner and game staff. Do not argue with referees or judges. Their word is final. Play the field as is, no modifications or vandalizing the field, props or personal equipment. Do not climb bunkers, trees, or any structure 4 feet or higher. The chrono rules are not negotiable. Eye protection is also not negotiable. Regardless of your age, you must have full seal eyewear on. If you are under 18, you must have some form of full face protection. See the FAQs section for further detail. Mesh glasses, goggles are not allowed per CDWC's insurance agency. The Fulda Gap field consists of 70-plus acres in the foothills of North Carolina. The terrain consists of everything from open fields, to ravines and creek beds. Trees are plentiful, and so is the underbrush, briars, in places. Be aware of your surroundings. Check what you are about to crawl through or walk over. With a field this large, it is very hard to keep poison ivy, oak off the field. Most of the playing areas are clear of heavy brush, but when traveling between objectives is when you might run into dense underbrush. The Fulda Gap map is available to print off of the website. The field is extensively bounded by orange or yellow tape. Please, for your own safety, do not cross these boundary lines. Players must be 10 years old to play at CDWC and at Fulda Gap. Players may be asked to verify their date of birth. Refunds will be given to anyone under the age of 10. All players must read and agree to follow all player safety rules, field safety guidelines, and sign the waiver of liability and hold harmless agreement prior to participation in any paintball or airsoft activities without exception. Any violation of the safety rules will result in mandatory ejection from the field and/or premises. Play nice or go home. Full seal non-mesh safety goggles must be worn by anyone in the playing field and chronograph, target range at all time. Only ASTM goggle systems specifically approved for paintball that provide full face and ear protection, or full seal ASTM goggles for airsoft are allowed. Airsoft players under the age of 18 must wear full face protection. Full face protection may be a balaclava, a wire mesh face protector with full seal goggles, or a paintball mask. CDWC will rent paintball goggles to airsoft players to meet this requirement. Modifications made to goggles are strictly prohibited. We repeat, only players with full seal non-mesh goggles will be permitted into our chronograph and play areas. Injuries, either from accidents or from play or dangers as found on the property, must be reported to staff immediately. The staff has been trained in first aid and takes your safety seriously. We have trained EMTs on site to assist you if you are injured during gameplay. Call out for a real-world medic, and a referee will get you assistance. Players may not call a ceasefire on the field. Only referees might call a ceasefire for this game. No shooting in any areas other than the designated playing field and/or target range. No shooting into or out of the registration area, neutral zones, or parking areas. Airsoft guns may only be discharged on the active field of play or target range. No shooting at wildlife, dumpsters, automobiles, porta-johns, etc. Blind shooting, that is shooting your marker without having a visual on your impact, is prohibited. Referees' DECCISIONS are final. Players or spectators will not be allowed to argue with the referees or staff under any circumstances. Interfering with the ref or staff duties will result in expulsion from the field. All airsoft weapons must be kept cold, magazine out, safety on unless in chronograph range or on field. No verbal abuse, profanity, name-calling, or slurs against anyone's race, religion, sex, creed, disability, national origin, or family members and friends will be tolerated. Cheating, overshooting, or unsportsmanlike conduct will not be tolerated and will result in your expulsion. No unauthorized equipment or potentially dangerous gear is allowed. All firearms, knives, machetes, explosives, flares, pyrotechnics, fill stations, etc. are strictly prohibited. There will be no filling of CO2 or high-pressure air tanks by anyone but trained staff. The field operator must approve all non-standard equipment allowed on the premises, including launchers, mines, etc. Modifications are prohibited. Players are not allowed to modify safety goggles, rental equipment, bunkers, or any property on the premises. Doing so constitutes vandalism. Spectators must complete waivers prior to entering the field and are required to wear safety goggles unless they remain a minimum of 5 feet behind the safety netting at all times. Spectators are also expected to abide by the safety rules as any other player. Personal property is the exclusive responsibility of players, guests, and spectators. CDWC assumes no liability for lost, missing, damaged, or stolen items. Uniform colors. We will be using arm tape like they have been using in the Ukraine. Wear any colors you wish. No changing of team color on either side. Sportsmanlike play and referees. Not calling hits, any form of cheating, or unsportsmanlike conduct, overshooting, fighting, foul language, etc., will not be tolerated. If you are found cheating, you will be expelled from the game and not allowed to return. We will have 3 types of referees for this game: the purple shirts, zone head refs, the orange shirt field referees, and tank refs, in yellow jerseys, vests. Under no circumstances is anyone allowed to argue with a referee. On the field, their calls are final, period. If you have a problem with a call, then take it to one of the game coordinators, or a head ref. There will be multiple head refs, one at each battle area. They will be assisted by numerous refs all over the field. Referees are here for your safety and are totally impartial. However, if you see any ref allowing any unsafe actions or performing poorly, please report him, her to a purple jersey ref, the head referee, or game producer. Reporting a ref for merely making a bad call or one you did not like is bad sportsmanship and will not be accepted. The head ref does not second-guess his refs on their calls, so the call will remain as is, even if was erroneous, but does need to make sure that the referees are doing their jobs correctly or operating with the correct information. Don't get angry or frustrated. Allow the referee supervisors to do their job by correcting their staff. Avoid close, within 20 feet, shots if at all possible. Allow the player to surrender first, see surrender, capture rules, or shoot for a low-impact area, like legs or feet. Be courteous. Blind shooting, shooting without visually seeing where your BBs are impacting or without looking down your sights, is not allowed. An example of this is holding your airsoft gun around a corner and firing. Violators will be counted as eliminated. Overshooting, which is the repeated shooting of an already eliminated player, is grounds for elimination or, if deliberate, removal from the field. Allow all suspected hit players to call themselves out. Be sure to loudly call yourself as hit, if you are, to prevent overshooting. No physical contact is allowed between players, with the exception of a barrel tag or handshake. Hit rules. If you are hit by a BB, you are eliminated. Hits count anywhere on your body or equipment, including guns and magazines, i.e., gun hits count. If you are eliminated, call, hit, 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 raise your gun in the air, place your dead rag on your head or gun, and return to one of your assigned safe zones. You may immediately re-enter the game after you tag in. If under fire, face away from where your enemies are firing from and exit play by the fastest, safest route. Putting both hands and gun in the air is a good idea as well, because it leaves no doubt as to your condition. Get out of the way fast if you are in an area that is under heavy fire. Head away from the fire. Do not talk, act as a shield, trade equipment, give equipment or ammunition to your teammates, or participate in radio chatter. Use the honor system. Be sportsmanlike. During the night game, any hit or suspected hit is considered out. Dead zones. There are 6 dead recharge zones currently on the map. Some of these dead zones are conditional use, meaning your side can lose them if certain bases are lost. There will be dead zone refs around all dead zones and entry points. They will be responsible for safety and reinsertion. There are dead zones in each battle area for each side, no shared dead zones, although you may use any dead zone for safety issues. If you find yourself in an enemy dead zone, make your way to one of your own dead zones before re-entering the game. Entry point and dead zone ambushing is not allowed. No units can set up within a 100-foot firing range of a dead zone to shoot out re-entering players. Therefore, all reinsertions should be cold, not under fire. It is important you know where they are located so you can get to them quickly and get back in the game. The dead zones will have water, and if your dead zone is running low on water, please inform a referee. If you leave the field for any reason, you are considered out. You must come back into the game via your authorized entry point. Special rules of play surrender. The surrender rule is also known as the 20 feet rule. If you get within 20 feet of someone and they do not see you, you can call out, surrender. At this point, the other player has one of two options. They can raise their marker and surrender, or they can turn and fire on you. If they turn to fire, you had better be ready to fire yourself. This could create quick draw situations, but calling for a surrender is considered a courtesy so as not to light someone up when they are within 20 feet to avoid a painful hit. We would recommend surrendering, but it is your choice. The person calling for the surrender has outmaneuvered you, and has done the honorable thing by asking for surrender. Be equally honorable and accept the option. Remember, if you call for surrender, not everyone will, so be ready. Single quote. Barrel tag. A barrel tag is when someone sneaks up on you, taps you with their hand, not barrel. This is a safety issue, and you are out. This is not an option. You cannot turn and fire, period. If barrel tagged, you must put your dead rag on, raise your gun, and leave the field quietly. We stress quietly because the whole premise behind the barrel tag is that someone has been stealthy enough to outmaneuver you without detection. That type of stealth deserves respect, and the respectful thing to do is not give them away by yelling you are out. A barrel tag, or surrender, is the only time you are not required to call out in a loud voice, hit. By the same token, if you barrel tag someone, just touch them with your hand, and say, barrel tag, do not jab or hit them with your barrel, or anything else for that matter. Capture. There are no captures in Fulda Gap Airsoft. Referees and other players may not be captured. Bunker tag. CDWC has a variety of structures and fighting positions on the field. Some of these structures are strategically placed, hardened, and make great defensive positions. However, to minimize close shots, a bunker tag rule is in effect. Certain bunkers will be marked by an orange diamond bunkers. To eliminate all players inside a diamond bunker, you must shoot them through the firing ports from a distance, or tag, slap the diamond with your hand while yelling, "bunker tag." This action simulates throwing a grenade into the bunker. If you are inside a diamond bunker and hear, "bunker tag," then you are eliminated. If you are outside the bunker, you are not eliminated. Players in diamond bunkers may also be eliminated with a direct hit from a Nerf rocket fired from an authorized, card-carrying, gun, tank, or grenade launcher. Grenade launchers are commercial Nerf firing launchers, the same as AT guns, although they cannot eliminate tanks. See the tank utilization rules for more information. If a bunker or emplacement does not have a diamond emblem, then the bunker tag rule does not apply and players using them for cover must be eliminated in a conventional manner. Be aware of the 20-foot close shot rule, described above. Night game. The following special rules are in effect during the night game. The night game can get very intense. Sometimes, firefights happen at very close quarters. Give your opponent the opportunity to surrender before you shoot if at all possible. There are many times this will not be possible or feasible, but please try the best you can. If you are injured in any way, call out for a medic. There will be game medics at Fulda Gap. All ranking officers and most refs will also be carrying first aid kits. If you are injured, make sure we know about it and seek proper treatment. No game is worth permanent injury. Radios. There will be a multitude of radios at Fulda Gap. Do not jam, or otherwise tamper with, these channels for any reason, or you will be expelled from the event. It is highly advised that you permanently label your radios with your personal information. Tank, bridge and bunker rules. Bunkers, bridges, foot or vehicle, and special targets can be temporarily taken out of play with special mission cards and C4 charges. Blown bridges will be marked by tape and signs indicating their status. No live players can cross a blown bridge by foot or vehicles for safety reasons. Dead players may leave the field by any safe means necessary. Bridges can be repaired with additional special mission cards or by continuously holding either side of the bridge for 1/2 hour. Anti-tank, anti-bunker. All launchers must be inspected by the game producer before game start. You must also be designated by your general as an authorized grenadier. There is a special ID card that will be given to you. Be sure to have it on your person at all times when you are employing the use of a launcher-type weaponry. Pneumatic-powered rocket launchers, RPG, can eliminate tanks, diamond bunkers, and other designated structures on the field and anyone inside them. The target must be directly hit, no bounces, with a factory-manufactured soft Nerf football-type rocket. On missions, a judge must be contacted and shown a card beforehand, and must be present to ascertain whether the mission was successful or not. In mission play, if an attack is successful, the structure will be taped off as destroyed. In non-mission, normal play, the structure can be immediately reoccupied, except tanks. There is a limit to the number of RPGs on the field. These players must attend the same safety brief that the tankers do to have their device checked by staff members and be given a GRENADER card by their general. No homemade RPGs made with plastic pressure chambers are allowed. All launchers must be approved for play by staff before the general can issue a card. An alternate to the RPG is a grenade launcher, which is usually smaller and mounted on a regular marker. These devices fire Nerf or small foam rounds and can only eliminate diamond bunkers. Grenade launchers cannot eliminate tanks, nor disable them in any way. There are no blast radius rules, as Nerfs should never be fired at individual players-only structures. There is a limit to the number of grenade launchers on the field, and you must possess a grenadier card to use one. All launchers must be approved for play by staff before the general can issue an grenadier card. Another way of eliminating tanks is through the use of anti-tank mines, as issued by a general, as they are a numbered and controlled item. These are marked and weighted rope-based minefields that are emplaced by anti-tank gunners. If a tank runs over a minefield rope and makes contact with it, then the tank is eliminated, but the mine is not. If a player, other than an AT gunner emplacing or removing, touches or steps on a mine rope, then they are eliminated as well. Mines can only be removed and replaced by card-carrying engineers, but only a limited number are available for use at any one time. Tanks. For the link to the Fulda Gap tank rules, please visit http://fuldagap.com/tank-rules.html. All tanks must be pre-authorized before the game by the game producer. Please email him directly with your vehicle specifications before arriving at Fulda Gap. Producer's email: info@fuldagap.com. The use of tanks, provided that they are under a strict set of guidelines, adds an enormous amount of fun and strategy to a paintball game. Armored vehicles on a real battlefield either dominate or are metal coffins for the crew. These rules will attempt to balance safety with effective tank strategies on the field. The tank rules are discussed in detail on their own page. Do not approach or be within 20 feet of an in-play tank or you will be counted as eliminated. Players may not bunker tag tanks or eliminate the driver with paintball hits. Do not shoot the vision blocks of the tanks or shoot at the driver. A designated safety referee will accompany the tanks. If a tank is eliminated by mine or AT weapon, it will either withdraw off the playing field or stay in position depending on the game and safety situation. In either case, the crew is eliminated and at least one must proceed to a dead zone as any other player. Reactivations of eliminated tanks involve an uninterrupted 15 minutes off-field in the tank park. Tanks cannot activate behind enemy lines unless they are entering the field through their designated tank entry points. Do not climb on, use for cover, or enter a tank under any circumstances, even eliminated ones. Generally speaking, unless you possess anti-armor launchers, your best tactic is to avoid tanks. Tankers and anti-tankers, please review, print off, and have a copy of the tank utilization rules on the field when your tank or launcher is in play. Assignments, missions, and re-entry. Each side's commander will be issued mission assignments at the beginning and several times during each game phase. The commander, or general, can be eliminated just like any other player, and if they are out of play, then the assignments may be temporarily interrupted. Protect your generals. Mission cards. These are to be issued by the general and given to the squad taking on the mission objectives. If a ref is present at the beginning of the mission, the card may be given to him and he will observe that the mission criteria are met, fill in the card, and then turn it in to game control. There must a ref present to validate a completed mission, so make sure you find one before the end of your mission. Weapons of mass destruction. Finally, by the nature of this game, there will be referee-supported events, usually dictated by the opposing generals, which could cause entire bases to be eliminated, and all players in them. These are called WMD attacks, and may come in three very different forms. Nuclear weapons, or more appropriately tactical nuclear devices, are a very powerful, but thankfully very limited, tool in the belt of the generals. They will eliminate a 100-foot diameter area of the field for the entire event phase once initiated. If used on a base, that base will be out of play for that day, and thus cannot be used for points. Nukes will be delivered via referee in a very loud and visually spectacular manner. That area will be considered irradiated, and any player from either side who enters that area will be counted as eliminated. The irradiated area will be marked with boundary or danger tape until safe to enter. They cannot be used to eliminate dead zones or entry points. Airstrikes will be simulated, loudly, by refs at points determined by the generals and coordinated through the game coordinator using a grid system. The generals initially have three airstrikes at his disposal. They must be called into the Tactical Operations Center, Fire Direction Center, who will coordinate a ref to conduct the strike. The airstrike will take at least 15 minutes to coordinate. They cannot be used within 1 hour of each other, no simultaneous or back-to-back strikes. Chemical weapons, or poor man's nuke, will be simulated by yellow smoke, official color for 2023, that will be issued by each side's general. Anyone caught by a referee in a yellow smoke cloud without donning their simulated protective equipment, a dust mask over your paintball mask, immediately will be counted as eliminated. Once the cloud has dissipated, you may take off your chemical mask. Remember, smoke travels with wind direction, and it could happen that you may gas your own troops by mistake. Regular smoke will not be considered as a chemical weapon. To call for fires, the general, or his authorized designate, must radio a fire mission with his call sign and the control number issued prior to the game. The general will give a grid coordinate, including a specific target or a direction, distance from a smoke grenade thrown 1 minute preceding the strike, target type, armor, infantry in open, structure, and location of friendly forces. If friendly forces are within 50 yards of target, the strike must be designated danger close, otherwise mission may be scrubbed, and loss of airstrike barrage will occur. TOC, FDC will repeat information and give updates to the general on time to target, TOT. The impact point will be where the ref feels that they are close to the grid coordinate or specific building bunker target dictated by the FDC as called in by the general. An airstrike or mortar barrage affects an approximate 50 feet radius from the point of impact as determined by the ref in place. A hit eliminates the target, the players inside, and all exposed, not in adjacent bunker, trench, tank or foxhole, players within 50 feet. The target can be immediately reoccupied by players not eliminated by the blast after the refs clear the structure. A strike or barrage does not take out entry points, dead zones, or flag stations. It can permanently take out props and role players.